Hello, you amazing child of God. Welcome to Bible Bedtime, Season 6, Episode 293. I am your host, Dana, and in this podcast, I read a full chapter of the Bible in a way designed to help you fall asleep in heavenly peace. In this 6th season, we are reading through the 6 books of the Old and the New Testaments. We are reading through Joshua now, and when we finish that, we'll start with Romans. After I read the chapter, I will also read a selection from the book of Psalms. We finish each episode with the Lord's Prayer, and then I close with a dedication prayer from Psalm 20:14. If you'd like to support this ad-free podcast with a love offering, we are on Venmo. Just enter at Bible Bedtime or search for Bible Bedtime Podcast. All the links are in the show description, and even a small gift helps me with the costs of producing the show and blesses me tremendously. However, I have no expectation that you do this. If you would like to reach out to me or the Bible Bedtime community, you can send an email to BibleBedtimePodcast@gmail.com, or you can join our Facebook group. I'd love to hear from you. Now, before we settle in for tonight's reading, it would also bless me tremendously if you could take a moment to rate and or review Bible Bedtime on your podcast app. Leaving a review, even a bad review, can help others find the podcast and figure out if it's something they're interested in. It also gives me feedback on what you like or what you don't like. If you are listening on an app that allows you to leave a rating or a review, just take a few seconds. We'll wait. Now, I hope that your day has been fantastic. I am recording this episode in advance of being on vacation, and the time that this is being released is about the time that I am returning from my vacation, and I hope to be very rested and relaxed and ready to go back into my day-to-day life. It took me many, many years to realize that I was a better person. I was more creative. I was harder working at my job when I gave myself permission to take a nice long vacation. I try to do at least a full week or even 2 weeks every year. Now, for years, I felt guilty for taking more than just a few days off here and there. And then I had an opportunity to travel and took an extended vacation and realized when I came back to work, I was so renewed and energized. And I recognized that I personally need that time to disconnect in order to be my very best person. That realization also helped me become better at sleeping. It's the same principle. Taking that time to rebuild and reset your body and your brain and your spirit and even your life in those small ways regularly makes you more effective at at living this life that God has given us. So treat your days off, your weeks off, your nights off as sacred, because they are. And with that in mind, it is now time for you to end your day. Get your room in just the right condition, adjust the lights for sleeping. Put away any distractions and crawl into bed and find yourself in your favorite sleeping position. Nestle your head into your pillow and feel the muscles of your body relaxing. See if you can find that sensation where you feel both heavy and lighter than air. Take comfort in knowing that the earth's gravity will hold you and not require anything of you except for you to rest. And now, if you can, join me in taking 3 deep breaths. 1, 2, and 3. Excellent. Joshua 18. The whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under their control, but there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make a survey of the land and to write a description of it according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph in its territory on the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses, servant of the Lord, gave it to them. As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go and make a survey of the land and write a description of it. Then return to me, and I will cast lots for you here at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left and went through the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, town by town, in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh, in the presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. The lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan, past the northern slope of Jericho, and headed west into the hill country, coming out at the desert of Beth-aven. From there it crossed to the south slope of Luz, that is Bethel, and went down to Adaroth-adar, on the hill south of Lower Beth-horon. From the hill facing Beth-horon on the south, the boundary turned south along the western side and came out at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, the town of the people of Judah. This was the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kiriath Jearim on the west, and the boundary came out at the spring of the waters of Nephtoah. The boundary went down to the foot of the hill, facing the valley of Ben Hinnom, north of the valley of Rephaim. It continued down the Hinnom Valley, along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, and so to Enrogel. Then it curved north, went to En-Shemesh, continued to Geliloth, which faces the pass of Adumim, and ran down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. It continued to the northern slope of Beth Arabah, and on down into the Arabah. It then went to the northern slope of Beth Hoglah, and came out at the northern bay of the Salt Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. The Jordan formed the boundary on the eastern side. These were the boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin on all sides. The tribe of Benjamin, clan by clan, had the following cities: Jericho, Beth Hoglah, Emek Keziz, Beth Arabah, Zemerim, Bethel, Avim, Parah, Ophrah, Kephar Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 towns and their villages: Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mitzpah, Ketharah, Mozah, Rechem, Irpeel, Terlah, Zelah, Haleth, the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah and Kiriath, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans. he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you, no disaster will come near your tent, for He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because He loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue Him. I will protect Him, for He acknowledges my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And in closing, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my Redeemer. And now it's time for you to fall asleep and sleep well. Sweet dreams.